are live. Yeah, man. Back up in Planet Hog. Happy to have you. Take a little sip, pause for the cause. Now, unfortunately, I'm out of my prescribed Kentucky all. So now we're doing doing a Black Russian this morning. But man, what is this goofy ass cat video? I hate advertisements. Anyway, man, every time I think I can get out, you have to excuse me, I'm a little stuffed up. But every time I think I can get out, man, and branch out to something else, they pull me back in. Well, you know, it is what it is, right? Whatever it takes me. Here we are. And I would be remiss not to talk about this story as it is, well, it's kind of a weird thing, right? It's a leading story that's not leading, right? Talking about Hunter Biden, that old Biden boy. That boy ain't right. That boy ain't right. No, he is not. Man, it's crazy. So I was, okay, for those of you who are not familiar, meaning you get your news from an approved source, approved in quotes. So an email got released that basically connects Hunter Biden and Joe Biden to the Ukraine, that whole Ukraine scandal. And I'm going to read a little bit from this article here in a second. Just giving you a little preamble. So anyway, that came out, and I think that was on like Wednesday, I want to say. And you couldn't talk about it. You brought it up on Facebook, you got censored, you got deleted. You brought it up on Twitter, you got removed. Man, these are some precarious times, aren't they? But yeah, man, and it went as far as I think Kayleigh McEnany, she got flagged. Donald Trump got flagged. Washington Post. The New York Post got flagged just for bringing this up. It's funny, man, right? Because you'll hear them. A lot of times you hear these guys who are, deep in the bag and drinking the Kool-Aid of the left and the media. They'll say things like the Republicans are the party of the elites. Well, if that's the case, then why is big tech running interference for Joe Biden? Logic is not a strong suit with these people. It really isn't. It's a shame. It really is. Anyway, so I was looking for this article, and I was just punching it into Google, and punching in New York Post, Hunter Biden, right? CNN came up, MSNBC came up, Fox came up, but I couldn't find this. I had to go 3 pages on the search engine to find it. That's how buried this story is. Anyway, we have it, ladies and gentlemen, because I am persistent. So, without further ado, let's dive in. The headline reads, excuse me, Smoking gun email reveals how Hunter Biden introduced Ukrainian businessman to VP Dad. VP Dad, of course, being Joe Biden. Okay. Hunter Biden introduced his father, then Vice President Joe Biden, to a top executive at a Ukrainian energy firm less than a year before the elder Biden pressured government officials in Ukraine into firing a prosecutor who was investigating the company, according to emails obtained by the Post. Also, worth mentioning, I think the Post was the one who broke this story. I think they had the lead on this, so which kind of cool, kind of dangerous, right? Um, never before, the never before revealed meeting is mentioned in a message of appreciation that Vadayam, boy, he's got these goddamn Eastern European names. Okay, that Vadim Pazharsky, an advisor to the board of Burisma, allegedly sent Hunter Biden on April 17th, 2015, about a year after Hunter joined the Burisma board at a reported salary of up to $50,000 a month. That's some serious cake. Oh, don't be a hater. I'm sure he's deserving of every penny of that. Dear Hunter, this is the email. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to DC and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spent some time together. It's realty and honor and pleasure, the email reads. Okay, so, they're trying to take it as it was. Obviously, this guy's grammar is not going to be perfect, right? He's not an American, and most Americans' grammar isn't perfect. So, continuing on, an earlier email from May 2014 also shows Pazharsky, reportedly Burisma's number 3 exec, asking Hunter for advice on how, and this is in quotes, advice on how you could use your influence, end quote, on the company's behalf. That sounds legit. Moving on, the blockbuster correspondence, which flies in the face of Joe Biden's claim that he, quote, never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings, end quote, is contained in a massive trove of data recovered from a laptop computer. And they actually have some images in this article. I'll make sure I attach the article in the description box. We'll see if this video stays up. This will be a good test to see if YouTube pays attention to the lowliest of the low. But as per usual, if you guys hadn't noticed, anything I read or cite, I put in there just so you know I'm not pulling shit out of my ass. Oh, let's see. The article continues. The computer was dropped off at a repair shop in Biden's home state of Delaware in April 2019, according to the store's owner. Other material extracted from the I can't read. Other material extracted from the computer includes a raunchy, 12-minute video that appears to show Hunter, who's admitted struggling with addiction problems, smoking crack. While engaged in a sex act with an unidentified woman, as well as numerous other sexually explicit images. Man, I'll tell you what. There's a reason why whenever Joe Biden talks about first of all, most people, if you don't do your due diligence, if you don't know anything about Joe Biden, you would think he only has one son because he only talks about Beau. And there's a reason why. Because it's like Cain and Abel. It's like you got one son who's, the good one, and then you have Hunter Biden who's smoking crack and banging hookers. Wow. Which is interesting, right? Because that's what Joe was locking while Joe was mass incarcerating people for crack. They were confiscating it and giving it to his son. Okay. That's fair. As long as it's fair, and this is fair. Who says that? Why shouldn't Hunter Biden be able to smoke crack? Grow up. Anyway, the customer who brought in the water-damaged MacBook Pro for repair never paid for the service or retrieved it, or the hard drive on which the contents were stored, according to the shop owner, who said he tried repeatedly to contact the client. The shop owner couldn't positively identify the customer as Hunter Biden, but said that the laptop bore a sticker from the Beau Biden Foundation, named after Hunter's late brother and former Delaware Attorney General. Photos of a Delaware federal subpoena given to the Post show that both the computer and the hard drive were seized by the FBI in December after the shop's owner says he alerted the feds to their existence. Okay, and there's more photos in here. All right. But before turning over the gear, the shop owner says he made a copy of the hard drive and later gave it to former Mayor Rudy Giuliani's lawyer, Robert Costello. Wow. That's like, I can't help when I read this article, I think about that movie. Did you guys see did you ever see Eraser? It was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Where he plays a U.S. Marshal, John Kruger. He's a U.S. Marshal, and they're charged with like hiding people that are snitches or whatever. And Vanessa Williams is in that movie. Oh, Vanessa. Oh. Vanessa Williams' gorgeous self is in that movie. And just the plot is very similar to this, right? Because she caught her defense company doing some slick shit, and she made a copy of a disc, and then made another copy of it. That's what I'm thinking about reading this. And then all kinds of shit rained down on her life and pretty much ruined her life. His shop owner, man. He better watch his back. He better have somebody else start his car. Let's see. Steve Bannon, former advisor to President Trump, told the Post about the existence of the hard drive in late September, and Giuliani provided the Post with a copy of it on Sunday. Less than 8 months after Pozharskyi thanked Hunter Biden for the introduction to his dad and then Vice President. To his dad, the then Vice President admittedly pressured Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko and Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk into getting rid of a prosecutor general. Oh, come on. Viktor Shokin, by threatening to withhold a $1 billion U.S. loan guarantee during the December 2015 trip to Kiev. I looked at them and said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor is not fired, you're not getting the money. Biden infamously bragged to the Council on Foreign Relations in 2018. Well, son of a bitch, he got fired. This is a quote. Shokin has said that at the time of his firing in March 2016, he'd made specific plans to investigate Burisma, that is the company that employed Hunter Biden, that included interrogations and other crime investigation procedures into all members of the executive board, including Hunter Biden. Joe Biden has insisted that the U.S. wanted Shokin removed over corruption concerns. It's the irony, right? Which were shared by the European Union. You know, I'm sorry to keep editorializing, but no, I'm not. Fuck you. My show. So, the European Union, right? The one thing that this COVID thing and everything else has shined a light on for me is how deep the horseshit runs. Like, we would have never known about the WHO and their influence, their Chinese influence without COVID, silver lining. We wouldn't have never known about how far this racial dogma, this critical race theory horseshit has infiltrated our American institutions, right? Because you had the CDC proclaiming white supremacy a public health hazard. You know, I'm just grateful for these moments because it's like you wonder how deep the corruption goes. And this is like, you know, in one of those action movies where they're exploring some kind of cave or some shit. And the guy takes one of those glow sticks, he's at a hole and he just drops it to see how deep it is. Yeah, that's what we're finding out, how deep this shit goes. So, the European Union, huh? Well, back to the article. Meanwhile, an email dated May 12, 2014, shortly after Hunter Biden joined the Burisma board, shows Pozharskyi attempting to get him to use his political leverage to help the company. The message had the subject line, urgent issue. and was also sent to Hunter Biden's business partner, Devin Archer, who sat on the Burisma board at the time. Devin Archer, huh? I feel like we found our fall guy, but we'll see. There's an excerpt of the email here, and this article's got a lot of stuff in it, boy. Wow. Pazharsky said that the representatives of the new authorities in power tend to quite aggressively approach NZ unofficially with the aim to obtain cash from him. NZ, the letter, it's a two-letter initial, N as in November. I don't know if you can hear the enunciation because I'm a little congested here, but NZ isn't identified in the email, but appears to be a reference to Burisma founder Mykola Zlochevsky, whose first name is the Ukrainian version of Nicholas. Okay. When the alleged shakedown failed, quote, they proceeded with concrete actions, end quote, in the form of, quote, one or more pretrial proceedings, end quote, Pazharsky wrote. We urgently need your advice on how you could use your influence to convey a message / signal, etc., to stop what we consider to be politically motivated actions, he added. Hunter Biden responded by saying he was with Archer in Doha, Qatar, and asked for more information about the informal, if any, accusations being made against Burisma. Who is ultimately behind these attacks on the company, who in the current interim government could put an end to such attacks, he added. The exchange came the same day that Burisma announced it had expanded its board of directors by adding Hunter Biden, who was put in charge of its, quote, legal unit and will provide support for the company among international organizations, end quote. According to a news release that's since been scrubbed from Burisma's website. Wow. Hunter Biden actually joined the board in April of 2014, according to multiple reports. His lawyer said last year that Hunter was, quote, not a member of the management team, end quote, adding, quote, at no time was Hunter in charge of the company's legal affairs, end quote. About 4 months after Hunter Biden's correspondence with Pazharsky, Archer forwarded Hunter Biden an email chain with the subject line, Tax Raise Impact on Burisma Production, which included Pazharsky saying that the Ukrainian cabinet had submitted new tax legislation to the country's parliament. A couple of pictures here of young troubled Hunter, and there's Joseph. This baseball game. Oh, yeah, a couple of pictures. The happy family. Yeah. If enacted, the law would kill the entire private gas production sector in the bud, Pazharsky wrote. It would kill it in the bud. It's nip it. But I love when non-Americans use American phrases. They always butcher them. Anyway, in the September 24th, 2014 email, Pazharsky also said he was going to share this information with the U.S. Embassy here in Kiev, as well as the office of Mr. Amos Hochstein in the States. At the time, Hochstein was the State Department's newly appointed special envoy and coordinator for international energy affairs. All right, I don't know if I'm going to read the rest of this. It's just kind of a timeline here, but I think we get the gist of it. Like I said, I'll attach a link to it in the description. But I really would like to get to the cover-up and all of this. Wow, there's a picture of Hunter Biden with no shirt on and a denim jacket that looks way too small. This man's dressing like a high schooler. I don't understand his problems. But there's a picture of him here smoking a cigarette in a bathtub. This guy just looks like this just looks like a bum. Well, anyway, yeah, man. I will have a link for this article in the description in case you want to go back and read it. So, well, let's take a sip and marinate on what we just heard, shall we? So old H. Biden is out doing dirt, huh? You know what's kind of funny is, again, yet another example of something Democrats accuse Donald Trump of, they end up actually being guilty of. So, you know, they just keep snitching on themselves. They just keep snitching on themselves. I would love to see how this gets spun. I mean, like I said, you already have social media suppressing it. Although Jack Dorsey did come out, I did see where he came out and said, but here, okay, let me pull up his exact quote because it's not, again, the devil's in the details. You really have to pay attention to the words these people use. Because it's not saying what you think it's saying by interpreting it. So here is Jack Dorsey's quote. Excuse me. Quite gassy. Let's see. Waiting for Yahoo to pull it up here. Okay, bunch of advertisements. Okay, can we get to the story, please? No? Alright, well, screw this. Here it is. This is from Jack Dorsey, the man that runs Twitter. Our communication around our actions on the New York Post article was not great. It's an understatement. And blocking URL sharing via tweet or DM with zero context as to why we're blocking, unacceptable. So they didn't actually say they were sorry for censoring. See, but that's, as I looked at a couple of the headlines from these writers, these editorial writers, one of them being the Yahoo person, they're like, oh, thank God he's come out and condemned them censoring it. No, he didn't. He literally did not. That's why you have to read what they say and not what you want to hear. One more time. Our communication around the actions on the New York Post article was not great. And blocking URL sharing via tweet or DM with zero context as to why we're blocking, unacceptable. So, again, he didn't say, sorry for censoring. He's saying, I'm sorry we didn't tell you why we were censoring. So, again, clearly, when you take this, and obviously Facebook pulling down Donald Trump campaign ads, the die is cast, man. They're definitely moving against the Don. But we'll see how it shakes out, man. But yeah, that's the Hunter Biden thing. I would like to believe that something will be done about this. If anything, what was that guy's name? I said remember his name. He'll probably take the fall. What was that guy's name? Some random dude. What was his name? Let me see if I can scroll back and find it here. I think his last name was Archer. Yeah, Devin Archer. Okay. If anybody, right, he'll take the fall. Hunter Biden will not go to prison. Joe Biden will not go to prison. It's almost like there's two different justice systems. Now, don't get me wrong. If this was you or I, we would be locked up before quick, as they like to say in Polk County. But, the rules don't apply to the establishment types. And it's funny, man, watching this and watching everything that's unfolding, and even with Nancy Pelosi and her little exchange with Wolf Blitzer. These people, again, another for the 2020, if people knew history, we wouldn't be living this file. The French Revolution started for much less, but something very similar along these lines where the elites thought that they could just do what they wanted and play with people's lives. And, I'm not advocating revolution. I'm just stating a fact that it seems as though there are people in our country in positions of leadership that just kind of serve their own interests, do what they want to do, enrich their family and their close circle of friends, and it's just a game. The rest of us are just, pieces to be moved on a chessboard. Yeah. So anyway, that's the Hunter Biden fiasco. Man, I would like to believe that there's going to be some kind of accountability. Even Obama was a part of this. Surprise, surprise. But realistically, I don't see anything coming from this. I really do. I would be shocked if something came from this. I would be legitimately shocked. But don't get it twisted. If it was you or I, like I said, we would be locked up before quick. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today. I will be back at you again tomorrow. Provided this, again, we'll see. We'll see how closely YouTube monitors its creators. But, yeah, man, that was a hell of a story. And, I'd heard some things about it maybe about a month ago, like some kind of preliminary, like, oh, there's something coming, there's something coming. But, you hear that all the time, and it's an election year, so you had to figure. But, supposedly there's more to it than this. So we'll see. We'll just stay tuned, and, yeah, man. Let me know what you think. If you think it's not a big deal, if you think it is a big deal, whatever, man. But as far as I'm concerned, if it's something that you would arrest a regular dude for, then he should be arrested too. Um, you know, but again, I'm not expecting anything to come of it. It'll just be that thing that happened that one time that we talked about and moved on. So until tomorrow, y'all, I am checking on up out of here, man. I'm gonna go blow my nose and maybe take a little rest, enter some Odin sleep, and see if I can't restore my system. Until the next time, peace.